Our program today is Daren Slater. Daren is the superintendent of the Alva campus of the Northwest Area Vocational Technical Center, and he has a new addition to his facility of some 19,000 square feet.
Yes, sir.
See, I was listening at the open house. So we'd like to welcome Daren Slater with a big clap.
Arden, thank you for inviting me out, and it is a pleasure to be here this afternoon. And I guess they did send that picture out Lynn took, and I apologize for the small crowd. That's probably the reason. So I tried to give my best side, but that just didn't work out. We have just finished a building project addition. Actually, we took control of the facility and started classes in there this August. But just to touch back on a little bit of history about the Career Tech system, and particularly Northwest Technology Center, the original building was built in 69-70. The building dedication was done in September of 1972. So 43 years ago is when the original structure that most of we see from the road was constructed. So in 72, we started out there, and actually the programs, we had a fashion design program at that time. We started out with building trades, auto mechanics, a business and office program, a diesel program, and a health occupations program at that time. The Technology Center has evolved over the last 43 years, as probably many of our organizations has. In 2002, there was another addition that was added, and it was primarily built around business and industry training, and also at that time we added on a business incubator section of the facility. And that was done in 2002, and then the last addition here in 2015 that we just finished up was about 18,000 to 19,000 square feet that we added this time. This time, over time, programs that we've added, kind of as things evolved and changed, we've added an auto collision repair program. We've added a digital design. About 5 years ago now, we added a plumbing and electrical program. I hope all of you know that, but if you don't, share the word. I've been in town about 6 or 7 years. When I first came to town, everybody that I ran into, the number one factor they'd always say, how come you don't have electrical and plumbing? We have a vast need for plumbers and electrical folks here in Northwest Oklahoma. And so we did some focus groups and have got that program off the ground. About the time we got it going was about the time that the oil boom really started exploding. And so traditionally that's a male occupation. We have had a few females, but as you know, young males from the age of 18 to whatever really were highly in need. And so we've seen that program really make a resurgence here in the last year. Our numbers have gotten better and more students as we've seen a decline or a slowdown in the energy sector. And so, yes, we still have a vast need for those positions, and now hopefully we can see that program take off and flourish, and we can start adding some people to that career path as well. In the last 2 years, with the addition of our new facility and kind of in our planning structure, we started looking at what career paths and what areas we might be able to assist our area in. And the one area that we looked at was healthcare. And we started a practical nursing program 2 years ago. And over the past 2 years, we've kind of have everybody shuffled in different cubby holes and classrooms with the start of this new addition. And with this new addition, we added a practical nursing program suite. We just graduated our second class, and our third class just started Monday. And so that's one area, if you come out, we'd love to show you. The other program area that we looked at was an area called STEM. If you're like me, you see the news and they talk about STEM. What's that mean? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And so we started a program called Biomedical Science. And it's really a program built around high school students trying to offer advanced science and mathematics curriculum. These young people come out, usually it's a 2-year program as juniors and then return as seniors. And the career path options for them really evolve around the next step in their post-secondary education. So either at the university, preparing them for a career in nursing, preparing them for a career maybe as a physician, as a pharmacist. So making their first 2 years of post-secondary education more highly prepared for that. So we're actually not preparing them for a immediate in-career position, but helping them prepare them for the next educational step. Also, if they weren't looking to go into the next higher education like college, it prepares them to go into fields like radiography or surgical tech or respiratory care, some other advanced type medical care. And so it's one of those programs, as I look back at myself, it might not have been the one for me, because they come in and they take trig and calc, they take AP stat, they take AP biology, they do 4 medical courses called medical interventions, medical innovations, the human body system, and biomedical science. And so things like that I go in and watch, and it makes my head spin, but those kids, it's an extremely hands-on curriculum and applying what they're learning. And so that was kind of the approach and the structure when we added the new facility. Not only do we add 18,000 square feet, which has been a blessing, but if you've been by the Technology Center in the last 3 years, we had people parking in the street. So Don Thomas and Mrs. Blunk are extremely excited because we added about 50 new parking spaces to our parking lot. And so now we can get everybody off the street and in the parking lot. And so that's been a true blessing with the addition, is the new parking spaces as well. I'll give you a little bit of brief history, too, about the Technology Center. Seems like when I speak to groups and I have folks come out, the common factor was, wow, I did not realize that you have done that. And so, as you may know, as you may not know, at the Career Tech Center, we have, in our daytime program, serve both adult students, so those students that's graduate high school, and also juniors and seniors in high school. In many of our programs, those students are attending at the same time. So, for example, in my plumbing program, I may have a senior from Winoka along with 2 adult students from Alva, Cherokee, or wherever. And that may sound a little bit unique, but truly it's a great mix. We have adult students whose true purpose is, we hope, is to find a career. They're there for one true reason for me. If it's not, they're in the wrong place, but they're there to get an education to enter the workforce. Our high school students, we want to believe that that's what they're there for, but many of them are there in their mind to just, how do I graduate high school, looking for high school credit. And so lots of times those adults in their focus and sometimes in their maturity help our high school students refocus and truly get their sights set on the right thing. But we serve both high school and adult students in most of our career majors at the Technology Center. There are some adult-only programs, like our practical nursing program is for adults only, but the majority of them are for high school and secondary students. In about 1995, we made a shift too in our focus. Before that, we primarily focused on daytime students, so students that were taking our career major. In 1995, the Career Tech system got into business and industry training. I say 95, yeah, 95. And with that, we've seen our audience and our clientele grow. We now work with over 150, 160 businesses. Last year, through our business and industry training sector, we had over 17,000 enrollments. And so you may ask what that is. Well, it could be, I'll give you one example that we've been doing now for about the last 36 months is with Sandridge. We do all the new employee training for all the Sandridge employees. Every week, we get a new group in, and they're with us Monday through Thursday doing initial employment training. They're doing Sandridge operating procedures, and then they're going through a formalized safety program where they're doing H2S training, they're doing OSHA training, they're doing forklift training, and so all those people start out with us. Another example would be with Cargill Salt, where we might be doing some compliance training with them. It could be safety, it could be OSHA related, it could be computer training, and so really working with business and industry, how we can help make them more productive, how we can help them improve their bottom line. And so that's an area in about 95 that we started seeing a push for, and thus you've seen in 2002 with that expansion in those classrooms is kind of what we were working on. Also with the adult education side, with evening classes that we would do anything from computer training to photography to some stained glass, just some avocational community development type courses was also kind of started in that 1995 area. The sheet that I passed out to you is something that we're currently working on. Our big push is trying to take our students and help them determine a career focus. Oftentimes you take a junior and you bring him in we have a superintendent's leadership class, and I think I interviewed about 28 of them. And one of my questions I always ask them, what is your career goal? And they really get confused with what a career goal, and many times is. For sometimes their career goal would be, I'm an 11th grader, my career goal is high school next year. Or it is to go to a university, and all those are educational goals, but what is the goal at the end? Is it to be a physician? Is it to be a plumber? Is it to be a nurse? Is it to be an auto mechanic technician? Whatever. And so we really have to think about them. And most juniors and seniors, I firmly believe this, because they start getting asked, well, what are you going to do after high school? They really want to know, and they don't. It's not that they haven't thought about it. Many times they may not have seen it. And so our whole career tree that I showed you here is about helping students figure out, what is my career goal? And if you look at that, the whole bottom side of the root of the tree, we talk about academics, we talk about their personal experiences. We use the word professional skills. You hear a lot of things about soft skills, life skills. We truly look at those as professional skills. And so their ability to speak, their ability to get along with others, their ability to understand the etiquette in a place of business. And then also with their passion. So as many of us know, that what we love to do or like to do hopefully will help drive what our career goal might be as well. And so with them trying to figure out what that is, we try to match all those up. As you see, entry level, and then we got technical careers and professional skills. We related this back to unlocking. You can see that the three sectors of the tree, and basically one sector, you start out entry level, you add education to unlock the next level, and then maybe more education or more training or more practical experience to unlock the next level. And as we know, not always is pay associated with that. If I started at entry level, depends on what it might be, I could make a good wage. If I'm at the technical career level and I'm working as an electrician and I may be making $25 to $30 an hour, additional education or a professional might not improve my pay, but might improve, no longer am I going to be turning tools, I might be now the boss or something like that. And so we try to get kids to look at those different areas and understand that education and also experience in technical skills and certification may unlock the next level in my career track. I use this analogy to my juniors and seniors is when they think about their career goal and their career plans, I use the spaghetti analogy. How do you know when spaghetti is done? Arden? Exactly. You take it out of the pan, you throw it against the wall, and you see what sticks. And I said, oftentimes you guys are taking the approach with your career plans, and your career goal is like spaghetti. Somebody's taking you out of the pan, throwing you against the wall, and see if you stick or not. And so our whole goal this year is to not to make them spaghetti, that they actually have a plan, a purpose, and your career, and we look at their career goal as a leaf, and they stick it on the tree. It doesn't have to stay there. It may move from place to place. But if my education hopefully is in my plan and leading me to that career goal. The other analogy that we try to use and we're really focused on is, and you'll find this with high school students and even young adults, if you ask them what the purpose of 11th grade high school is for, any ventures on what their answer might be? To get you to 12th grade. That's exactly right. And the purpose of 12th grade? To get you to college. Purpose of your freshman year, you can see it going on and on. And all those are part of the plan, but not necessarily the purpose. That my 8th grade education, hopefully, the purpose of it is, if I want to be an engineer, is to help take me to that engineer goal. And so we really are trying to reshape and refocus them on thinking, what is the goal and the purpose of my education? It's not to get me to the 12th grade so that I can go on to college. The purpose of my education is to get me to be an electrician or be an auto tech or be an English teacher or to be a doctor. And that way they can kind of think about that. We use the thing that if you want to be a physician, we have some kids in health careers. If the first 2 weeks of school they discover that they don't like blood, we need to move their career leave somewhere off the physician path. And so lots of times kids get to figure out truly what they want to do, what they like to do, and hopefully help focus them towards that career path. I speak so passionately about it because I just had a freshman in college this year, and I use my kids truly as my sounding board and my example because they may be odd, but I think they're pretty normal, I guess, as normal as they can be. But I constantly hammered him, what are you going to do next year? I mean, you're a senior, and I use that because I don't know if all of us, I'm sure some of us did, but back when we were in juniors and seniors, really I think they get tired of their friends and their friends' parents asking, what are you going to do? So they come up with something probably related to their parents' occupation. I had a young man the other day at Fairview, and he wound up, I think he chose a medical. He got pressured in, and I said, well, what does his parents do? Well, they wound up somewhere in a related area. And so really, and that's where that passion comes back. I interview lots of kids and see lots of kids. If we can get them to think about what they like to do and then help them find a career goal that falls somewhere in that, it's easier to match up that career or that educational path to reach them there. And that's kind of what we're trying to do at the Technology Center is head them towards a career. And then once we can figure out that, to apply the academics, apply the technical skills to lead them there. We truly believe to make the most attractive, the most highly advantaged possible worker is how do we take robust academics and combine the highest technical skills with that to make them and give them the biggest advantage in today's workplace. You can be successful with technical skills, you can be successful with pure academic skills, but to give them the biggest advantage, we truly see a marriage between those two and with those two to give them the biggest advantage in today's workforce. We're excited about our new structure, our new building. I invite you to come out and see it. We're very proud of it. We're excited about the changes and the new programs, the new offerings going on at the Technology Center. Back in 1972, whenever the Technology Center was first started out, I'm just guessing, but just historically, probably 20% maybe left the Technology Center and went on to post-secondary, so college or more additional technical training. They left and probably went straight to the workforce. That's been a flip. Now about 80% of our kids will leave the Technology Center and take additional post-secondary training, whether that's at the Technology Center level or at the university level. And so the old analogy of a student that struggles academically, that he needs to go out to the Technology Center and learn a career, is still true. We can help those kids, but many of our kids take their academic skills and their technical skills and move on to additional training. And so that's a shift in terms of just the job places that we see. And so we believe that there's programs, or that we have programs to assist any young person in furthering their education and hopefully not being that spaghetti that's being thrown against the wall and just seeing if they stick or if they fall off. So anyway, I appreciate you asking me out. Come see me. We've got something to show, and we're very excited. Not only the new edition, but I told the group at Open House to take a walk back through the 1972 edition. In many cases, other than the paint and a few different carpet samples, it looks very modern for being 43 years old. So with that, thank you. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have. Yes, sir.
I don't have a question, but I appreciate finding out why it is that I never did like spaghetti.
It was a little gritty that fell on the floor. Yep. Question?
Okay, looks to me like you've got a logistics problem trying to point students to instructors and finding competent instructors for all the fields that you have. Does one student go maybe to Fairview or somewhere else rather than here because of his field?
No, not necessarily.
Each place have everything.
We have two different programs. At Fairview, we have welding. At Alva, I have auto collision repair. That would be the two programs that are different. So if an adult student primarily, usually a high school student, because of the travel distance, would not be able to go to Fairview if they live in the Alva community. A student in Cherokee, would be kind of in that no man's land where it's about the same distance to Cherokee as it is, or to Fairview as it is to Alva. So they could make a choice. If they wanted to take welding, they could go to Fairview. But the kids here, if they were wanting a welding, I don't have that option here for them. So they'd have to choose auto collision, auto tech, or one of the technical programs that we have.
Because if they were in plumbing or electricity,
Yeah, they'd have to come here.
can they go out and go into business for themselves, or do they have to serve an apprenticeship?
They do. And they're basically, as they come through the electrical program, our goal is to get them past their first year apprentice. So basically they're a year 2 apprentice. Many of you may know, that's a great question. To become a licensed electrician in the state of Oklahoma, you have to have 8,000 hours of apprenticeship time. So as you see, this is kind of my analogy, why do we see family electricians? Because as they work for mom and dad, 16, 17, 18 years old, they're acquiring apprenticeship time, and by the time they're 19, they can test. But they're getting their first year apprentice, and so our goal is with them that they come to the training program, we get them the basic skills, so you as an electrical contractor can afford to hire them and make money off of them the first year you hire them versus spend a year costing you money training them and getting them started that way. And so before they could take their journeyman test, they would have to complete 6,000 more hours. When they get 4,000 hours, they can take their residential journeyman's test, but to become a full-fledged licensed journeyman, it's 8,000 hours of documented either educational time or work time. Plumbing is a little bit unique, that the state construction boards has looked at giving 2 years experience to every 1 year of education. So in plumbing, it's, I think, 6,000 hours, and so you could get kind of a 2-for-1, and then you'd have to spend a year in the field before you could take your plumbing journeyman's test.